15 seconds.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready!
How dare you!
Welcome to Never Mind the Furthermore, your morning dose of creative conversation and coffee with your host, Brian K. Morris, independent publisher, freelance hybrid author, award-winning playwright, Facebook famous YouTuber, and former mortician's assistant. Get ready to start your day off right.
And good morning, everyone. How the heck are you? Welcome to the Monday. Yeah, it's Monday. All right, November 1st, 2020 edition of Never Mind. Furthermore, thank you to everyone watching, whether it's live or on the rerun. We do appreciate you. And thank you for indulging me on Friday. It just didn't happen. I was going to try to rerun some old Clever Title Pendings. It did not occur. My apologies to everyone who was expecting it. But we've got some stuff. We're going to make this a special week. We've got J.D. Calderon coming on later. He's a buddy of mine who does the Oswald Chronicles. It's a really cool fantasy book, and we hope that you'll give him some love when he gets here. And then Wednesday, we've got Matt Knowles, who's got a brand new all-ages comic book coming out. But we want to get some stuff done here. First of all, attitude of gratitude must begin, because that's a good way to start any Monday. And we're going to start out with Plasma Fire Graphics, of course, because they're sponsoring the show. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. When you've worked so hard to create the best book you can, you want a cover that will really amplify the desire to purchase it, right? So anyway, that's why you need Jeffrey Hayes at Plasma Fire Graphics. He can create a great wraparound cover for your book, as well as the graphics to use on social media to help sell it, and a beautiful book trailer to top it off. And what's even better is he's crazy affordable. He is an indie creator himself, and he knows how tough it is to get your projects off the ground, so he wants to help. So check him out on Facebook. Check out the Plasma Fire Graphics on, I almost said Rising Tide. Check there too, please. The Plasma Fire Graphics page on Facebook, and then go to plasmafiregraphics.com and inquire about his rates. You'll be glad you did. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you, because it matters to your readers. And also what matters to me are my Patreons. Thank you to my patrons who help keep this show on the air and help other projects move forward. And we're going to have a special HallowCon report for them, and a little bit of one for you guys too later on. But anyway, these wonderful ladies and gentlemen have their own Patreon accounts too that you might check out and see what they have to offer you, because I give you special blogs and looks at works in progress. Also, we mention your name on the show, so if you want to see your name on this card, check out what I have to offer, www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. Speaking of checking out, please go to our Facebook page for the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. We've got your entertainment covered 7 days a week, from the BK Minute all the way up to great shows like Stupid O'Clock, The Truth Mongers, Drinking with the Davies, Comics, Chaos, and Sass, the Historical Fencing Guild, and we mentioned we got Last Man Standing, and Comic Book Spectrum, of course. So please check out the Rising Tide Broadcast Network at the Rising Tide Broadcast Network page on Facebook, and give that page a like if you can. And we got all kinds of comments coming in here. So we want to show off some stuff here. This weekend, of course, was HallowCon, and had an amazing time. It was worth a 10-hour plus drive. It really was. But got to see friends like Carl and Donna and Michaela and Damien and Lauren and all kinds of wonderful people. Plus, I got to meet the crew of Stupid O'Clock in Toto. Joe Dog, of course, he ran the thing. Skunk, and Skunk will get to your screenplay this week, and also John, Dan, even Lewis was there, which was kind of cool. And Bobby Nash drove in from Atlanta just to say hello. That was so sweet of him. And speaking of sweet, Carl Witzman brought me this. I don't have this one yet. A Batman for my PVC figure collection. Thank you so much, Carl. That is so cool. And also, speaking of cool, Damian Waldron, who is an incredible artist and toy maker, created a special prototype of a new toy line that he and I are developing. I'm sorry we can't get the glare off of that more than we can, but this is Entrail, the Cosmic Tunneler from O Toys, and this was the HallowCon prototype exclusive. So if you didn't get one there, missing out, people. I happen to have one here that's under glass. It'll be served later with a little foie gras. It'll be wonderful. There are 4 points of articulation. It is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sculpture. But this is the one that really got everyone to howling. Look what he made for me. It's the only one. It's the only Funko Pop that Cookie can't bitch at me about. So anyway, it's got a little book there in his hand. And it looks like a gun. Cool. I could use one day, some days, but it's got me in total there. Look at this. Look at this beautiful thing that Damien. I've got to put a drop of super glue to secure it to the base, but it's got the beautiful fez and my tassel. And so thank you, Damien. Thank you, Carl. Thank you to everyone at HallowCon for absolutely spoiling me. And plus got to hang out with some really terrific authors. One of whom used to work for NASA. We're going to try to get her on one of our shows too. And I know we got some interviews coming up on the morning show. I've just got people I like to talk to, so we're going to have them on. We might even have some of you on one morning. Who knows? But when we do, but I do want to say that we are going to revive Clever Title Pending soon. We've had enough requests for it that I am doing it. But we're going to do it in a special way. And if you're a Patreon subscriber, you're going to be glad we did. So anyway, please check in on us, and we'll have our progress reports at risingtide.pub in our monthly newsletter, which will go out today. So please go to this page today and sign up. If you get there before 5 o'clock Eastern today, you should be able to get the latest issue of our newsletter. And with the secret links, which aren't secret because we tell you where they are, and news about our shows for the rest of the year. We have 2 shows lined up for the rest of the year. Yes, HallowCon is supposed to be the last one, I know, but get off my back. But we have Indie Author Book Expo coming up in November and a special show in December. So anyway, please check in with us there at risingtide.pub. And Sarah joins in. Wow, 20 minutes early. Holy crap. I know, right? And good morning. I'm guessing you need about a pound of coffee this morning. Yeah, we got in around 1 o'clock this morning, and it was a vigorous drive from Dalton, Georgia. Beautiful scenery down there, beautiful country. It rained most of the way down, and then it was dark most of the way back, but we had some incredible food at the convention. We had some incredible food on the way to and from, and got to see a beautiful part of the country we hadn't been to in probably 20 years. So it was really, really fun. And good morning, Teresa, and everyone saying hello to each other. And good morning, author Kathy Jackson. Mwah. Check out the Kathy Jackson's book page on Facebook. You'll be glad you did. It is fantastic. Speaking of fantastic, there's Nicholas Anthony Tockard from the Historical Fencing Guild. And good morning, Nevermore. It's Glad the Mighty Manatee Man, Master of Marketing, double checked. When I saw no video, I flew to the boot cave to prep a Cannot Find the Furthermore. We set up the show on Sunday, and then we had to edit it last night because I couldn't remember who was first this week, Matt or JD. You're going to love JD. He is fantastic. But he'll be here in about 10 minutes or so. But yeah, I couldn't remember who was who, so I just put up kind of a generic one. And we are going to talk about HallowCon. It was what's kind of called a relaxicon, where there were panels. I got to do one on writing, and I had the benefit of having Bobby Nash sit in with me and give some terrific advice. And Bobby is just ever so cool. He's a great writer, and he's a great guy. And what's funny was Joe McKeel, who runs the whole shebang. He wanted to surprise me and have Bobby walk in and see me pee my pants because I'd be so excited, just like a little puppy dog. But what happened was Bobby told me, like, he and Joe Dog came to the arrangement, and then Bobby PM'd me and said, "Hey Brian, I'll be at HallowCon." I'm like, "Oh, cool." And then Joe Dog is like, "Hey Brian, I got a surprise for you." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, Bobby's showing up, right?" And he's like, "How did you know?" And it's like, "Well, Bobby blabbed." Anyway, looking forward to hearing all about the experiences of the weekend's convention. You'll be hearing about it, I promise. I'll probably be gushing over it. Let's just say that it started out as something I've wanted to do, and especially to help a really good friend of mine. Uh, and actually, all my good friends in the thing. Oh, and also, Chris, can't ignore you, your contributions, and Donna and everybody down there. You guys really put on a great show. I'm so proud of you guys. But anyway, we went from the weekend cookie going, it's a long way. We're spending a lot of gas. We're buying a hotel. Not expecting great sales, but actually we got really good sales. We did the math this morning. I was like, oh, it was worth it. But anyway, over the course of the weekend, it was fun to see her transform from we'll have to see about coming back in a few years to, well, maybe every other year. Well, next year looks pretty doable. Do we have to leave? That sort of thing. And after the several hours of driving, BCAM is dedicated to doing a show this morning. Wow, I'm impressed. Yeah, there's something seriously wrong with me, Sarah. But we'll get through this show. It'll help that we have JD here. And Matt will be here Wednesday. You guys are going to love these guys. Seriously, they are great creators and a lot of fun. And that being said, NaNoWriMo looms for some. I personally have been given the green-eyed look of death to finish one of my works in progress from my boss of 19 years next week. That's lovely, Nick. And what are your plans, creatives? Mine is to finish The Terrors, which is a book I've been serializing on my Patreon page. But I will get it ready for sale. However, we're still going to be serializing it in the pages, and we are probably going to find a way to perhaps get copies to some of the patrons there, or at a good discount, or like a really healthy discount, like barely over what I paid to get them printed. And we are we will certainly let maybe we'll make an exception, the $5 and up. We have $10 and up to get some of our ebooks, which we got to get all of them up there. We really do. But we're looking at finding a way to get it to the patrons, and also Clever Tile Pending will figure in your patron stuff too. Cookie has a couple of things she's got to do, and then we're going to resume video interviews again. So, and allow certain people to come in and ask questions. Anyway, no, good for Amanda giving you the green-eyed look of death on that, Nick. And I look forward to you getting that done. Seriously. And good evening, Sarah, or morning. It was one of your nights this year. Hope you had fun. And Scott Crocker, huzzah! I seem to be the first person who was in attendance at HallowCon present for this episode. And I've got to give Skunk some serious compliments. One, I started reading his screenplay. Wow. That reads like a super finished work. And I'm really excited to read the rest of it, Skunk. And also, there was a phrase we used to use in restaurants, if you'll permit me one moment. And basically, to compliment a hard worker, the term was used, all you see of that person is elbows and assholes. And that was Skunk this weekend. Well, I was the a-hole. But anyway, no, Skunk, was in motion. He was doing stuff, and when you needed Skunk, it was like he rubbed a bottle and he appeared amidst the smoke. He just popped in, but and he was so much fun during the Saturday night where we staged, or I should say, Joe Dog staged one of those spitting contests, where you fill your mouth with water and somebody comes in and makes you laugh, and if you spit, you're out. And it was an elaborate scheme to allow one of the League of Impossibilists to propose to the other one. It was exciting. And John B. Pica. I forgot John B. Pica. And John B. Pica was he started out the event with a rendition of the Star Spangled, or our national anthem. And he's got a set of pipes on him. Oh dear God. That boy can sing. He's astounding. Plus, we did a live version of Behind the Cereal Box, my premiere episode, and that was super, super fun. But anyway, Skunk, you helped make the weekend a lot of fun, and it was so good to meet you in person. It really was. Sarah, I'm handwriting, which makes it more difficult to do a word count, but I love how personal and cathartic it is to put pen to paper. And I see you, JD. We'll get you in a moment here. We're going to sneak you in, and no one will know how subtly we do this. And Damian Walburn, have to say good morning to you. Good morning, good people. Had a total blast this weekend at HallowCon. Met so many great people. Ate good food and really enjoyed the show for the first time in a decade. I was typing as you posted. And BKM is a broadcast beast. If you can support with a like, share, subscription, join his Patreon, or just slip him a tip for the whole thing through PayPal. Well, somebody else who's a broadcasting beast here and a great creator is my buddy here, JD Calderon. Let's bring him on. JD, how the heck are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Brian?
I am barely holding on to consciousness right now.
I have the same feeling. I am decaffeinated at the moment, so yes.
Oh, you poor man. Do we have to stage an intervention for you, or was an intervention already staged?
Yeah, no. Well, it's being taken care of. So we'll see what happens in the next 15 minutes.
Yeah, or something better happen in the next 15 minutes, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Well, we're not going to taunt you with anything. So anyway, we'll be nice to you. And folks, please continue to put your promotions on the screen. We'll try to flash them on the screen as we can, and your comments. But get some questions for JD, because first of all, I'm going to give him the whole screen here. Give him the spotlight dance here.
Oh
yeah, look at it. You didn't know this was coming up, did you?
No, I didn't. No.
Oh, brace yourself. Anyway, we're
everybody else should brace themselves. Woof.
Yeah, no kidding. I didn't warn them much about you, so anyway, they're in for it. But no, JD's awesome. And this is long overdue. This is, seriously, I should have had him on sooner. But anyway, I'm going to give you the spotlight here and tell everybody who you are, why you are so amazing. Don't leave anything out. Here you go.
How you doing, everybody? My name is JD Calderon. I'm the writer and creator of the Oswald Chronicles and Tall Tales. So if you've ever seen Daphne, that's my wife and partner in crime. And we've been doing comics since 1992. So yes, we are a little bit on the aged side. Currently, I'm working on, like I said, the Oswald Chronicles, which is on Kickstarter. And there's a few things up there. It's the first trade paperback of my time with, Passing Queens and Making Homes. I've done so many of these, it sometimes melds into one thing. But on there, you'll see the first trade paperback, which comprises the first 4 issues of his life, which is kind of cool. It's the first time I'm doing a trade paperback for him, and it's about 120 pages, and it's volume 1. So along with that, I think these already passed. I think I've already hit the backers, but I was giving away these things. So first 38 backers, you get this little pin and some of these guys. So these are like the early bird people. They got all this stuff.
Nice.
Now, but for stretch goals, we are giving away trading cards. I'm a big trading card fan. I collect them. So if you have a campaign of your own and you have trading cards, there's a good chance I could be in there. So the other things we're offering as add-ons is this pin. This is a hard enamel pin. So this guy is available as an add-on. We also have a T-shirt, which I'm actually wearing, which is kind of cool. I actually like very stark black and white shirts. I think they're kind of cool. And then these are the individual comics that the series is that are in the trade. So if you want to take a look, I could just flash a couple of these real quick. So the artist is Jade Gonzalez. She's incredible.
Very right. Well, that's lovely. And that's black and white, right?
Yeah, it's black and white currently. Yes. Like I tell everyone, I mean, the goal is to eventually get it all in color, but those sorts, it's expensive. I pay for the artist, But trying to get it in color, that's the next phase, but it's a little bit on the pricey side, but we're working on it, and that's why I do these campaigns. And that's the other thing, these campaigns that I run, it's not like I'm pocketing the money. I'm not going to Disney World with the cash. I have a day job, and that's where I live on that. And I'll be going there later on today to fulfill that particular level of life. But all the money I generate goes to my artists. So if you like feeding starving artists, please go buy yourself a book.
Help them not to starve.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. They like to eat,
Yeah, no kidding. These people are so demanding. But no, that's you brought up an excellent point there, that so many people think that and I notice this a lot in the independent comics field, that there are people who seem to be constantly doing one campaign over another, but it's not like they're like they're putting into an offshore fund or anything.
Right.
They're at the end of the campaign, it's like, I thought I budgeted for everything more often than not. Have you ever found that?
I'm actually pretty decent at that. I try to keep my core costs at pretty tight. The artwork itself is already produced, so that sort of thing is already covered, so that's already taken care of. So the only thing I have to worry about is whatever I'm doing for my stretch goals, whatever I'm doing for and the printing and shipping, obviously. So the only thing you really have to watch out for is internationals. Internationals can be really expensive, so that can get really pricey. Locally, within the States is easy. It's usually not that expensive. So, and then it's just a matter of just packaging.
Yeah. Now, something that fascinates me about you and Daphne, who was on the who was on here a couple weeks ago, as you know, and people like Charles F. Millhouse. You guys started this thing before print on demand.
Yes.
It's like, right now with all the technology and the crowdfunding, granted, it's you're hustling. You got hustle. Yeah. That's one thing I love about you. Many things I love about you. You got hustle, but how hard did you, compared to now, how hard did you have to hustle back then to get your work out to the public? Well,
it was a different world, different time, right? So back then when I was printing, I think the first book I ever printed was called Revelations, and we printed 5,000 of them, right? And I remember and the thing is there was no direct selling. Right. So it was myself, and I think there were 9, maybe 11 of us at the time, because I was running a small company. In quotation marks.
Very small company, right?
Right. Yeah, very small
whoever
company.
fit in the room, right?
Exactly. And we're all friends, and we'd all just grab books and run to and at the time we probably had, I don't know, maybe 18 comic shops in New York City. In Manhattan.
Yeah, I was gonna say, JD lives in New York City, so
yeah. So there was a lot of shops. Like now there's Midtown Comics, the ghost of Jim Hanley's universe, and that's probably unfair. I think the guys who are running it are trying to do a good job, and they probably are, but it's not what it used to be. Jim Hanley's universe was incredible. But that's besides the point.
Well, I have a friend one of my best friends goes out. My goddaughter lives out in New York, and he visits her for me. And he tells me, that over the years he's gone to Jim Hanley's, and he goes to Jim Hanley's less and less every time he goes out. I don't even think he goes there at all anymore. Sorry to say.
Yeah. It's now, now is JH Universe, because he sold it. He sold it to his to a couple of his employees.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, because before it was a huge store. It was across the street from the Empire State Building, and it was huge. You could walk the floor. He had racks and racks and racks of books, and there was always something unusual in there. Yeah. So you could always go in there and find something new. Because he was always buying from indies. He had a rack for I guess like the really alternative type of works, and these are books these are like fanzines. These are things that people were literally printing up at their home and folding, or they making Xerox copies and putting staples. And he had like a double-sided rack. The rack was about 6 foot tall, had 6 tiers on 2 sides, just filled with this stuff, and you could just go in. If you had a zine or anything, you could go in there. He'll buy 10, 20 of them or whatever, put them up on the rack, you know. And the guy was, yeah, that's why I missed that store immensely. But you know, we have Midtown Comics, which is cool, and we have and there's a scattering of a few other stores, and then out in the boroughs there's some more, but it's just not a lot, not what it used to be. Back in the day, you could walk 10 blocks and you'll hit a comic shop. You know, maybe even less. When I was growing up, I had 3 comic stores within like a 5-block radius.
Wow.
Of each other. You know,
Holy
there was Super Snipe, Eastside Comics, and the Batcave. And they were all, well, Super Snipe was incredible. It was one of the earliest stores about. The Batcave was an actual comic book store. Fantastic. Great store. Found a lot of great stuff there. The Batcave was run by Eastside Comics was run by a bunch of weed heads, and they would only be there on the weekends. So
many people don't realize how many early comic shops were run by weed heads and various unreliables. So yeah. The cash register was a cigar box usually.
Pretty much. Yeah. You'd walk in there and they had books and stuff, but you know, these guys just did not care. But they, you know, you can buy stuff, you know. But yeah,
now they be meth dealers, so you could buy stuff really cheap then.
No, thank God, no.
No, please no.
No, exactly.
Don't do drugs and deal comics, kids. It's not just worth it. So you got your fix there, JD. Good.
yeah, definitely just brought
me. Good. I can drink with impunity now.
Yeah, the Java.
Hi, Daphne.
Oh yeah, well she took off. She was like, So damn, I forgot the question. What we were talking about?
You were telling us about like distribution of your
first distribution, right. So like
copies,
right.
Now, you know, so how did you know, even now 5,000 copies is a daunting number.
Yeah,
you know, when you've got like you probably have people in the top 10 in Diamond who may not even print 5,000 copies of some issues now.
Some books,
yeah. How did you move them? Was it mail order or
no?
You know, like
well, we
Comic
did
Buyer's Guide or pleading with Diamond or just locally or conventions. What?
Well, like I said, there was about 10 or 11 of us, so we all grabbed stacks. We all ran out to our local shops and we sold them to the stores. You know, and we were getting reorders because back then it was weird. People had money and they were willing to spend it.
Yeah.
So it was awesome.
Yeah, pre-recession money.
Exactly.
Well, and thinking about it, you know, like, you know, you started your business pre 9/11.
Yes.
You know, and right about the time of the comics collapse.
Yes.
Of the 90s. Now, how did that affect your business? When Marvel is, for those of you who don't know, Marvel was actually in bankruptcy, reorganizational bankruptcy at the end of the 90s.
Right. Well, we were started in the early 90s. So it was 91, 92, right? So, like I said, it was a different world back then. So you could go out, you can go to the stores, and they would buy them. You know, that was the craziest thing. They would buy them because there were indie guys out there, but just not that many. Right. You know, not like there is today. So we could just go into a store, buy them, you know, sign the books, and they'd be like, oh yeah, boom. And then we would get reorders from these guys. They would call us up and they'd be like, hey, I need another 30 books. And they would be like, okay, we'll bring them out. And it wouldn't, and that's the thing. It would be 30 books. It wouldn't be just, now you're lucky if you can sell 5 or 10. But back then I could sell 30, 40, 50 books per store. And there were people buying this stuff. And back then we had 13 distributors, you know. Right. So you had Diamond, you had Capital City, and it was really Capital City, then Diamond, and then Heroes World, Friendly Franks, Comics Hawaii, Sticks International, and several others. Right. So
I remember one was even in Hawaii because
that's Hawaii.
I printed some stuff around that time, and you know I was getting orders from Hawaii. So
yes. So I mean, and the thing is, you could sell as a brand new publisher. You could come out and you could sell 5,000 copies with very little, you know, hoopla, very little introduction. You can go into the, you know, I would put out these little tiny ads they had in CBG, the Comic Buyer's Guide, and they're like $30 or something per week or whatever. And you would just put a little ad in there. I was doing that for a little while. And some of the like I think Sticks International and maybe Heroes World, because they had their own catalogs. Like previews, they had their own catalogs. Right. So I think I took out a couple one-page ads in those because they were less expensive. Like previews was still, they were one of the bigger dogs along with Capital. I think they were probably a couple $100 at the time. But these other catalogs are like $50, $60 or whatever. So you can get in there at a reasonable price. But like I said, you could sell 2,000-3,000 copies, relatively easy. The problem was that we were very young and we would produce these comics annually, right?
Right. Yeah.
which is a real problem. It's not a good way to build a business. You're only putting out 3 books a year. As a matter of here, let me show you something. Here's something for everybody to look at. That was one of the books I put out in a day.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Seriously, I'm looking at that, JD, and comparing it to a lot of the books at the time, that would stand out. That's, I'm not just waxing your car here. That's a beautiful cover. No, thank you. This is Matt Lunsford. Now, the thing is, you can't really tell, yeah. So what I'm doing is I'm remastering it. I'm going back. I'm re-lettering it, and nice. I'm touching it up because it really needs it. But Matthew was incredible. And I'm looking to do Kickstarters. This is another one he did. This is a parody book we did called Dreamweavers in Extreme Homage. So this was cool. Like, so we were just goofing on the Image guys because Extreme was, Rob Liefeld. Right. Homage was Jim Lee and I think Will Sportasio at the time. And this is just us goofing on them. So, and it just has, it just has stuff like this. So eventually I'm hoping to remaster these and then re-put them out. And very cool. I love this page. This is that's gorgeous. That is that's sweet.
Yeah,
I love
this. This is Rob Liefeld had ripped this this scene off from Frank
Miller. Yes.
Right. Right. And then so we ripped off Rob Liefeld.
But I noticed an alarming number of ankles in there.
Yes.
I think that's the part you're going to have to take out for the new edition.
Exactly.
Did any of those copies wind up in the in Rob or Jim or Wils's hands, to your knowledge?
Not to my knowledge. I doubt it. There was a very small. That came out towards the tail end of us publishing. Right. So we were at the tail end, and that was like one of the last books we did. We only printed 500 of them.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I lost a couple of hundred of them in a flood.
Oh, that's right. You had a flood.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So if you have a copy, I've seen them on eBay for about $20.
Oh, collector's items classics, people. Start scouring the back issue bins for this one.
Exactly. So if you find one, you're in luck because there's not many of them out there. And then, like I said, eventually I'm looking to remaster, re-letter it, do a Kickstarter, Indiegogo, whatever, and then and hopefully get it in color. That again, it's another one of those things, trying to get it in color. So
no, I get that.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Now, how many comic books do you think publications do you estimate you've done over the last 30 years?
Well, the
have you ever sat down and thought about it?
Right. Well, I know on Tall Tales we had, I don't know, God. There's the first 20 issues.
Right.
There's 4 trade paperbacks.
Great, actually, right there.
Right. There's the first 20 issues. There's 4 trade paperbacks. There's an omnibus, and now we're going back to trades, and then there's the new 6 issues. Oswald, I think I have a total of about, I don't know, 14, 15, 16. I don't know. I guess. I don't know. I know I have, it's like almost 1,400 pages worth of material.
That is amazing.
And then early on, we did Tall Tales, the first 3 issues. Dreamweavers, we did 3 issues. Reaver, we did 2 issues. Security Agenda, we did 1 issue. Revelations and Revelations Saga, and that was all out of Golden Realm Unlimited. And then I have a couple of titles from a very short-lived company that I had where we did some adult stuff called Girls of Terror XXX.
It's kind of ringing a bell with me. I don't know if maybe I saw an ad for it or something or what.
It's possible. It's really obscure. We only did, I think the print runs were 3,000 each. We when I had done them, the industry had already collapsed, which was a shame. And we sold maybe like half the run, 1,500 through Diamond, and I think one other place. And then what happened is I had the remainder of the stock, right? And there's a retailer that got in touch with us, and they did this for Tall Tales because it was crazy because these books, this is like I would do two versions. So this is a collector's edition, right? So it has a cardstock cover, and then you see it's foil stamped, right?
Yeah.
So that's this. And then we had a reader's edition, which was done on newsprint and was literally half the price. So this was like $450, and those are and these are 48 pages. This one was 48 pages. The 32-page ones were $3, and then $1.50 on the newsprint ones. So in your eye, Peter Cimetti, long before you were ever around, buddy.
In your face, Turner Comics.
Exactly. Love you, guy. No, he does great work over there.
Yeah, he does.
But,
he really does. Yeah. He does a lot for the industry too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I would print 3,000 of each. So, but we would probably sell 4,500, right? Close to 5, and then we would get rid of another 400 or 500 at shows. So I still end up with a pretty decent stock of this stuff. Yeah. So we had one retailer come around to us, and he was like, "Hey man, what have you?" He would buy them off of us 50 cents. I'll give you 50 cents per book. And we ended up clearing out like a mountain of stuff with that guy. And it was just like, and then what he does is he just either gives them away with every sale, or I think he sells them for $1 or something.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But I think the adult stuff, the Girls of Terrax, I'm pretty sure he sold at full price.
Probably could get it too.
Probably could get it too, exactly. Some strange stuff in those pages.
Oh, cool. Now you've definitely blended my appetite for this sort of thing. You mention things like that. It's like, I've got Brian now. I know how to get him to start hitting the back issue boxes now. Do you have girls? Anyway, but no, it's like you've got some really grand experience. What?
Back issue boxes bad.
JD, meet my wife.
You
You're frightening JD. Cut it out. Go away. Shoot.
You've been warned off. Oh,
yeah.
Well, you were asking about how many books we published. So, and then I did some professional work during the 90s. So we did Tenchi Muyu, Phantom Quest Corps. We did some, and then there was some adult material we did. And then, so there was all of that. Oh, and then we appeared in a fan. Well, it wasn't a fan. It was an anthology series called Furlough. And we were in there.
Press, yes.
Yeah, Antarctic Press for a while, and then I'm forgetting the name of her company. It was Ellen Winkler's company. She had moved it to another company, right. But we were in that thing. We were the longest running strip for a while. I think we were like 50 issues, and I remember we were running Tall Tales in there probably about eight pages at a time. And I remember one fan had mentioned, he was like, reading it like this, reading Tall Tales like this is like watching Lord of the Rings 5 minutes at a time. So yeah.
I take that as a compliment.
No, I took it as a compliment too. It's just like, we were torturing these poor people.
Oh yeah. Darn the bad luck.
Yeah, I know, right?
Wow. Well, that was a great experience. Now, I'm getting ahead of myself here. You're in the 90s. We're experiencing a boom of comics, and a lot. And I recognize that a lot of people who weren't around then, this is probably like, we might as well be talking about the direct sales shops that George Washington went to.
Right.
It's like, it's a whole, like you keep saying, it's a whole other world, and you're absolutely right. Now, there came a time in the 90s when, like we said, comic books were on the ropes. Marvel was in clear danger of going under. Rumors were flying they'd be selling all their IPs to DC or whoever. Right. I'd get that Metamorpho Blackhawk thing going. Anyway, but how did that affect your business as an independent creator, or did it?
See, it's funny. While they were going through that, I was working professionally, so it didn't really have that big of an impact on us.
Good.
And that was the thing. It just wasn't. It didn't really affect us in any way. The thing that it did do is that it collapsed the market, right?
Right.
And we went from 13 distributors to 2, because Capital City held out for a few years. Right. And Capital City was always the better company.
Agreed.
And and that's pretty much what it did. Was so your sales automatically went from being a new publisher from 3, 4, 5,000, even 6 or 7 or 8 or 10,
Right.
to 2, if you're lucky, 1, because the market just shrunk.
Right.
And it had a lot, I think, a lot to do with the fact that we had less distributors.
Yeah.
You had less people really pushing. And I mean, having Diamond by itself, there were some cost benefits to it, in shipping and that stuff.
Sure.
But in the end, it just shrunk the industry it just made the industry too small. There just wasn't any competition for Diamond, and they were very aggressive. If anybody came out as a small distributor, I think there was a company called Last Gasp, and they were just trying to fill reorders.
Right.
And they couldn't make it. And Diamond is horrible at refilling orders. So the way it works is you put your book in the catalog, right, in previews.
Right.
Everybody's like, oh, great, you got your postage stamp image in there, right, in your blurb.
Mm-hmm.
They order your books. Okay, great. So let's say they order 1,500 books as an independent guy or gal or whatever.
Yeah.
So they order 1,500 books. Okay, fine. Your retailer sells out. And your retailer is like very conscientious person, has 4 or 5 other fans out there say, hey, man, I heard you had this book. But he's like, okay, let me put a reorder in. Orders 5 books, 6 books, whatever. Diamond turns around and says, oh, you ordered how many? Oh, and then we have another 40 retailers. They also ordered, X amount of books, right? And they're like, yeah, no, we're not fulfilling that.
Yeah.
And it's a horrible business practice. And everybody said that Diamond has always been terrible in this aspect of the business, even when there were 13 distributors. Because the other distributors were very good at it. Capital City, Heroes World, all those other ones, they were fulfilled. And back then you could relist.
Mm-hmm.
So if you this is the thing where I kind of messed up.
Yeah.
I didn't know this back then because I was young. I had learned some stuff. I didn't know this.
Sure.
Is with my second issue, I could say, oh, I could relist my first issue. So then that way people be like, oh, he has both. So then they would order more, and I could have probably cleared out a lot of stock.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, because during the 80s, I was a retailer in the Midwest. And one of and I agree with you, Capital City was awesome. When I went on my own, that's who I went with. But the thing is, I actually would call Diamond and say, I would like a reorder or something or other. And they'd say, I don't feel like going down there and getting it today.
All right.
And then I would say, fine, I'm going to call Capital City, who would then bend over backwards to make sure I got those issues I needed, because they were hoping to pull me away from Diamond. And then the next week I'd call Diamond and say because I wanted to give him first choice, because that's who I was working for. That was he wanted to go with them. And I'd say, well, I'd like a reorder, and suddenly they feel like going down to the warehouse after that. So, but yeah, Diamond has always been one aggressive. They've been super aggressive about trying to get new clients, but then once they get them, they treat them like, they don't care if you ever come back or not. The comics have always come back poorly packed. Comics have always been, or orders have always been messed up to one degree or another. So yeah, it's nothing new. And I'm, when we heard that like the new companies were coming in now and the exclusives were going away, I think it's probably the best thing for the comics industry right now, along with the rise of places like Liberty Entertainment, et cetera, et cetera. Hashtag always promote your friends. So now, let's fast forward, to now, you've got, crowdfunding going, so in a lot of ways, things are better now. If you're willing to put the work in, would you say that? Because running a campaign is not like you hang your shingle out and wait for the money to come in.
Right.
No. You got to prep. You got to prep your campaign. You got to have a timeline for it. You've got to make personal appearances. But anyway, things like that, and get your friends promoting all. But would you say overall things are better now than they were back then? Or do you think not?
It depends on what we refer to as back then. right? If you're talking about the late 90s, I would say no, things are much better now.
Yeah,
You're talking
I'd
about
agree.
if you're talking about the early 90s,
Yeah.
I would say things were better back then.
Yeah, really.
Because we had we had more retailers, right? So it's a numbers game, right? You figure now we have 12 to 1400 retailers left out of 18,000.
Right.
Those 12 to 1400 retailers, there's only 200 or 300 of them that really buy indie comics, right?
Yeah.
Now back then, just as an average, let's say you're talking about 20%, right? So 1400 as opposed to 18,000. So you probably had a couple of thousand stores buying indie comics, and that's the big difference. You know, if we had a couple thousand stores that were really dedicated, not even so much dedicated, but just buy indie comics to sell them. You know, because in the end, I mean, it's a product like any other product, right?
Right.
It's just that everybody's so into, like, you know, Marvel, DC, Spider-Man. I get it. You know, this is the stuff we grew up on.
Right.
You know, and some people say I'm a little harsh for saying this, but, you know, there was like, but there are a lot of guys and a lot of gals who grow up and they just want to work on these dead men's dreams, right?
Yeah.
And I'm always of make your own dreams, you know, read those things, enjoy those things. You know, I buy them in reprints. I love omnibuses, you know, I just love them.
Yeah.
You know, and I go back and I read and I enjoy that stuff. It says, but don't make it your goal in life to just work on somebody else on properties where these companies have regularly abused the original creators. You understand? I mean,
I do.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, a lot of these creators have been abused by these people, and these people have made tons of money. They don't want to share it with the creators, you know. So, and in there's a few guys like Bob Kane and a few others who've done spectacularly well for themselves, but that's only because they had contracts.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Unlike
the knowledge of how to use them.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I mean, I'm like, you know, there are plenty of us out there trying to create the best work we can create. You know, am I as good as Alan Moore and Neil Gaiman? Who knows? Probably not. But, you know, I'm trying though. I swear to God, I'm trying.
You know, you don't have to be though. Is the thing. So
no, you don't have to be. But it motivates me.
Yeah. No, I get it. I totally get it. You know, it's like, you know, I do comics, but I do mostly prose, you know, and, you know, the next person that compares, you know, says, you know, are you making as much as, you know, like Stephen King, you know, it's like one-way trip to the moon.
Well, you know, it's funny. It's not so much a thing of making money for me.
Right.
Money is important. All right. Because money, I consider it's fuel for the project. Right. So you need that fuel, but it's way more important for me that the book is as good as something by one of those guys.
Yes.
You understand that I could sit that book with pride next to those books and be like, listen, just as good as anything they did. Sorry. You know, because I consider myself a hobbyist, and I know a lot of people hate that, right? They say, oh, you know, you're supposed to be a professional. I've done professional work, and it is different, right? I've done that monthly grind. It's different, you know? And then also, there are a lot of gurus out there who talk about, you know, what you're supposed to do in writing and this and the other thing, how you can make yourself popular and this, that, you know, and they're like, tailor your writing to your audience, right? That sounds to me, that's hack, right? Right. That's hack.
That's pandering.
Exactly. It's pandering. Yeah. It's hack work for me. It's just like, it's like, you know, when I hear that, I'm like, well, you're just in it for the money. I'm like, you know, I live in New York City. We have a Wall Street. You know, go get a degree in business and go get your ass down there. You'll get six figures pretty quick. You know, but you're gonna be killing yourself over there while you do it. Yeah, those guys, they will eat you up. I think the average life cycle or time a person spends in is 10 years, because it's just too much. It's really hard. They make a lot of money, but man, it's a grind. Like anything else, you're gonna make that kind of money. But going back to the original point is write for yourself. You know, when I wrote professionally, I wrote for my editors. I wrote for the fans of that material. Like Tenchi Muyo, I watched those they gave me 24 episodes. I watched them all, and I made sure to write to that. so that I kept to the spirit of those characters. I tried, I inserted some things which were just new characters to the universe, but I wasn't trying to put my thumbprint on anything. I was just like, okay, I have to keep it to this because this is what the fans are going to enjoy. Right. But when I'm doing my own work, it's my work. I do it for myself, and I like to share it.
Right.
I'm not going to sit down and write. I don't know. It could be anything. A lot of people like to hit on Cthulhu. I have Cthulhu in my own mythos. I'm like, listen, guys, it's a lot of fun to play with H.P. Lovecraft stuff.
Right.
And that's what we're doing. We're paying a homage to Lovecraft and his work. And and it's fun to play with it. That's what it's there for. And I'm sure that's what he wanted. Even while he was alive, he wanted people to work on his stuff.
Sure.
So yeah, that's the thing, is like try to find things that will, just from new creators, and just find the new stuff and just go out there and enjoy it. Just don't stick with Marvel and DC, which is what a majority of the business does. Like I said, everybody's stuck because you have one group. They're just in it to just buy, collect, and then resell.
Yeah.
Right. And then you do have some older fans, or just fans in general, who just enjoy the stories.
Right.
But it's always a thing of like, there's other things. It's not just that. There's more out there. So.
Right. No, and a lot. When I was working in the comic shops, that's when we started getting people like First Comics in and Pacific, and the new independent comics. Granted, they're still making like about 20,000 units of their comic,
right?
But whatever.
Yeah.
But a lot of those became my favorite comics, not just Superman, but like Grimjack.
Right.
And it was a beautiful discovery. And another thing is how many creators who went on to work on the bigger projects started out in those indies. I mean, John Ostrander, who everyone's worshiping the Suicide Squad, which is pretty much based on his foundation from the comics, but he started out at smaller companies.
Very much.
Yeah. So it's like a training ground.
Yeah, Bill Willingham's Elementals, right?
I love that title.
Yeah, started off, Kamiko, 80,000 copies.
Right.
First issue, right?
Yeah.
If that book came out today and nobody knew who Bill was, like it was back then, and it wasn't coming out of Image, or Boom, or Dark Horse, would it sell 80? Even if it was coming out of Boom or Dark Horse, would it sell 80,000 copies? I don't know. I don't think it could. I don't think it would.
Well, again, the market being what it is now, that'd be difficult. But I think also you could take those old issues, if you could get them from Andrew Rev, and reprint them, and they would stand up. Maybe change maybe recolor them a little, but otherwise, wasn't also Mike Leake, who's drawn like Iron Man, a lot of great titles from the majors. He came out of that as well.
Yes, he came out of the second series.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you notice a lot of creators now, like back in the day, it was like you started in fanzines and then you went pro, and then maybe you did your own thing from there, whatever that may be, whether it's comics or not. But now I notice in the larger pool of things that people start out independent, get work at the big companies till they build a really big following. Then they move over back into the independents again because now they own their IPs and they've got enough fans to help them sustain it.
Exactly.
I think that's the new role model. So kids, take notes.
Take notes. The only thing is that I think the big issue that's going on now is just quality of writing. It's gone down quite a bit. I don't think people are studying the craft of writing hard enough.
Right.
And I don't think they're being tutored well enough. I don't think we're hard enough. I don't think people aren't being hard enough. Like, look, nobody wants to go out there and point to somebody else's work and say, look, this is like dog shit, right? It's just not, it's not cool. But even being constructive, right? I could sit back and pull something apart and be like, look, you need to work on your dialogue. You need to work on your pacing, transitions. You need to work on all these different things. And I could sit there with a red marker and be like, all right, you need to fix this. You need to fix this. You need to fix this. Right. But a lot of people don't appreciate that. And I get it. Right. I mean, in my 20s, I had a friend of mine, Steve Roman, and he was like, I had already worked professionally. He was offering me more professional work as a prose writer.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, fine. And then I had turned the stuff down because I just didn't like the pricing they were giving me. I was just like, I just didn't like the money they were offering.
Right.
I was just like,
Oh, sure.
it's just not good.
Right.
So, but I had asked him to edit some of my stuff, and my God, it's just a bloodbath all over the place on these pages. It's just red, for pages and pages, just red. And and at the time, I was young. It was, I was like, oh my God, what is this guy talking about? Blah 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 blah. But years later, I was like, oh, I was an idiot.
Yeah.
Because he was right. There was stuff that needed to be pared down. There was stuff you need to think about differently. There was, just errors, and you got to go in and you have to be able. You can't let your emotions get in the way of that. If somebody tells you something's wrong, you can. If one person tells you something's wrong, you can question it. Mm-hmm. If 3 people tell you the same thing is wrong, you might want to look inside of yourself and be like, oh, I might have to work on that.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then God forbid it's a couple hundred telling you the same thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like I do some editing on the side too, and I tell people, if you survive your encounter with Dr. Tough Love, you're doing pretty well. Because I hadn't written comics in a long time, and I was getting involved in a project that actually had a couple of people involved that used to do comics for Marvel and DC. Mm-hmm. And I got a critique. I sent the script to one of them, and he savaged me. Right. And I'm, the first 24 hours, I'm like, well, that SOB. Who does he think he is? Does he know who I am? No one. But and then after 24 hours, I'm like, this guy is 1,000% right. It's stuff that I had forgotten what to do. And then then I hand it to another guy. I'll mention them: Paul Kupperberg, Roger McKenzie. Thank you guys very much. And then Roger, told me about emotions, human elements that I had not added.
Right.
And between the two of them, I could even tell him the critique, which is something I try to avoid in my own, that I think Paul, after a while, was like, you're making the same mistake over and over and over. I thought you knew this stuff. You seem like an otherwise rational human being. But yeah, and it's like, I think a lot of people take the, like, we're old enough, we took our, new tips from like Moore and Gaiman and some of the hot writers of that time. But some people just, and I've seen other people, contemporaries of ours, that tried to get in, that would take like the trappings.
Right.
The stuff that really stands out about the work, but not the overall structure and attention to detail. So like, you might see like Frank Miller, like that panel that you showed us earlier, the Ronin takeaway, where suddenly 6 months later there's 20 books with some guy stabbing himself to get to the guy holding him back.
Exactly. Yes.
Or somebody that finds out you can swear in comics, then the next thing sounds like a Tourette's convention. It's like everybody's F F F F F. So but they don't understand structure, like you said, or pacing, or just the idea of building up excitement, then pulling back a little, giving the audience a little time to breathe, and the various ways you can move from one scene to another without just going, meanwhile. You're absolutely right. And some of the best editing I've ever got was tough. The person didn't give a damn about my feelings and just went and honed in on the work.
Yeah.
And I think I became a stronger writer because of that.
Yeah. You definitely will. As one person told me, steel sharpens steel. Right. Exactly. So you're just gonna become better for it. And there's just not enough of that these days. So
yeah. Well, and another thing is again, you and I are probably the tail end of the generation that also got some chops from reading real books or short stories.
Right.
And studying people who definitely had no, like Bill Finger, Gardner Fox, Stan Lee, who didn't have a previous generation
Right.
of comic creators. And so they got their things from Shakespeare and the pulps.
Hmm.
And we, had, of course, a couple of generations of comic creators to draw from, to learn from. But now people coming in are learning from the people who imitated comics, who in turn imitated comics, who in turn imitated comics. So it's
Right.
kind of like, like the snake that is devouring its own tail in a way.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the only thing is now there's, I think it's been picked apart by a lot of people like Scott McCloud, with his work.
Yeah.
So I mean, you go in there, there's a lot of I guess critical essays on how to do comics and how to really break them apart and break them down.
Yeah.
So that's one benefit, because we didn't have that. I certainly didn't have that when I was a kid.
Oh, no.
Right.
Yeah, I wish.
So right, I don't know how that would have affected me one way or the other, positively or negatively, because that stuff can affect you in the wrong way if you take it the wrong way.
That's true. That's true.
Because I know there's some young writers that they're just looking for gravitas at all times.
Yeah.
Everything has to be heavy, and it's just like, look, guy, you got to lighten it up sometimes. Sometimes it's just a bim bang boom adventure, and sometimes that's all it needs to be. Sometimes you need that good feel, comfort food, moving on. It doesn't have to always be, so heavy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you have to have. And I give this tip a lot. Star Wars isn't about the Empire.
No.
Star Trek is not about about the Federation or the Klingons. It's about James T. Kirk. It's about Spock and Uhura and how their personalities interact with these larger struggles. Conan isn't about the entire Hyborian age. It's about how a young thief makes his way from one adventure to another in a stranger in a strange land, to borrow from Heinlein. People, do you ever get people that ask you for critiques saying, I've got this, this world that spans 50,000 years and, 400,000 dimensions and blah, blah, blah. And, but where is my Luke Skywalker through whose eyes I can see it?
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
So,
no, that's exactly it. It's like, I think, I could sit back and tell you, like the book I'm working on now, Dreamweavers, right?
Yeah.
I could tell you about, like Lycarians and Rarnians and Coretians and the God world of Lykar and all these different things.
Yeah.
Right. All this world building that I've done, but
which has to be done.
Right. All that has to be done. It's in the background, but does it really, but what's really important is the connection between the four main characters, which are four children who inhabit the bodies of these four adventurers from other dimensions. Okay. So, it's like these four kids are given the ability so that when they go to sleep, they pull in their role-playing game characters or what they think are. So they come from the multiverse, right? And just to let everybody know, Marvel did not create the multiverse. That was Roger Zelazny. Long time ago, right?
Yes.
Also helped out by Michael Moorcock, right?
Oh, God, yes. The Eternal Champion. Oh, dear
Exactly.
God. That should be required reading.
Yes. But yeah, but they pull these characters out from, like these entities, and they bring them to Earth, and they think they're inhabiting their bodies, and they're like shared with the original entities. So you have, these little kids in these full-grown bodies who could do these crazy things. One of them is a sorcerer. We have a priestess. We have the big muscle guy, and then we have the thief guy, right? Because I was a kid when I made all these up, so Dungeons and Dragons was all there, so it's all there.
Oh,
This is my equivalent of the Fantastic Four. I didn't realize that till much later. That I had these four kids are my Fantastic Four, because I have Sid Richards, I have Thing, I have Mr. Fantastic, and I have, Johnny Storm. And I was like, wow, I didn't even realize as a child. Well, I was like 19, 20 years old when I came up with this. I didn't even realize. I was like, I made it, my own version of the Fantastic Four. I'm like, this is crazy. Yeah.
That is amazing. That is amazing. Well, that brings me to another question I wanted to ask you. Who were your influences back in the day?
Well, that's a good question because it gets split into two halves, right?
Okay.
Okay, because I have my comic book influences, right?
Right,
Which is
right.
Frank Miller first and foremost. Frank Miller every day, all the time,
I hear
because the book that I remember getting, I believe it was Daredevil 168. I bought it off the rack in some grocery store,
you. Yes.
and it was the introduction of Elektra. And I remember that was the first comic I ever read that I said to myself, if I ever write a comic, because I was probably about 10,
Right.
if I ever write a comic, this is how I want to write it. Not like this, but
Right.
this is the quality of writing I wanted to bring out.
Yes. Yes.
Now, whether or not I ever achieve that, I'm still working on it. It's
Right.
it's a high standard, right?
That's a damn high standard you set for yourself. Yeah, especially on
Right.
the Daredevil stuff.
Yeah. So there was Frank Miller, there's Alan Moore, because I came into Alan Moore reading Miracle Man and Swamp Thing. And,
Right.
To read some of that early Swamp Thing stuff when I was like 12, it was just like crazy. It's just like, poof,
Wow. Yes.
Yeah. And then, so it was Swamp Thing, Miracle Man. And then, and then there was James DeMatteis with like Moon Shadow and was it Craven's Last Hunt?
Oh my
think,
God, yes. A
Right.
high watermark in the Spider-Man stories. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's funny is I'm not a big Spider-Man fan. I'm just not. Right.
Yeah.
I never have been. That's my favorite Spider-Man story. It says, yes, it's the one where Peter Parker gets killed, he gets buried, and the villain takes his place. That's my favorite Spider-Man story.
Yeah, and it had that beautiful art by Mike Zack.
Yes, Mike
That
Zack.
did not
Yes.
hurt a bit.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
So for comics, that's where I'm at as far as like inspiration.
Mhm.
But there's the other half, you understand, of my writing, which is Roger Zelazny, Frank Herbert, Dennis L. McKiernan, Isaac Asimov, Heinlein,
Yes.
I'm dropping his name, Fafard and Greymaster, Fritz Lieber.
Oh, Fritz Lieber, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful stuff.
Yes. So yeah, and then there's also Lovecraft and Barker, and there's tonnage as far as that's concerned. And the funny thing about it is, by reading that stuff, it showed me there was an even higher watermark in writing, because we had Miller and we had Moore at the time, but by reading Zelazny and Asimov and and Heinlein, you were like, oh no, it gets much better.
Yeah.
They're like you can hit those guys and you can still look up and like, oh damn, the mountain just got bigger.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Oh,
Mhm.
I feel it. Yeah, 'cause you absorb what they give you and try
Right.
to apply it to your own experiences, your own training. So yeah,
Mhm.
I totally get that. They say this. Writers are readers.
Mm-hmm. Oh
So,
yeah.
Totally get that. Now,
Yeah,
who are
yeah.
your influences now? Who are the people that inspire you now?
Probably Matt Kint, Jeff Lemire,
Mhm.
Warren Ellis for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jonathan Hickman.
Mhm.
That's probably about for now. I know there's a few more names like Joshua Dessart, and there's a couple of other names in there, but I have to go look them up because I'm not always. But definitely Lemire and Kint and a lot of those guys. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I hear you. Well, I'm going to give you a break for a moment here because I've been having so much fun talking to you that I've completely ignored our audience. And there's some names here you might know, and a lot you won't. But anyway, and we'll talk about your broadcasting in a few minutes. But anyway, Joe McKeel, listening as I drive home. Thank you for being a gracious host at HallowCon this weekend. And Sarah used to take apart old comic books to repurpose them. And she says the idea of using unwanted comics to add to personal journaling has changed. I can't get myself to cut up a single comic book. Therefore, they go into a box to donate. Well, that's a good thing too. And Grant Lankert, good morning to you. Let's see. I believe he got Memoirs of the Morbid funded over the weekend. I believe.
Nice.
I think, and I'm selfish thing going on here. I'm in that book, so of course I wanted it funded. Thank you.
Yes.
No, seriously, to everyone who pledged, thank you very much. And yes, Damien Waldron, who oh, by the way, JD, if you need toys, I'm going to pimp for my guy here.
Oh no, I know. I have. It's over there, but yeah, I have some of his stuff. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
This guy, of course, he also has curried my love. So
Nice.
Isn't that beautiful? I mean,
Mhm.
it's one of those things, just seeing it through the screen, it's pretty cool. You ought to be here about 6 inches from it. It is even better. So anyway, and don't forget, folks. And also, I missed Sarah's message here. 8 people and 4 likes cracks the whip. If you're enjoying what you see, if you dig what JD is talking about, then definitely give us a like on Facebook and give us a thumbs up on YouTube to salve the loss of my Russian bots that were subscribing to me. But anyway, handwriting triggers the artistic centers of the brain, especially cursive, far more than typing, Sarah, says Nicholas Tockard. And here's a guy, I know you know this guy. Hey, yo!
What's up, Pops?
Good morning, Pops. Good to see you. And Damien goes, ow, I like, ow. So anyway, everyone's saying hello to each other, and thank you for watching on different channels, Pops, to increase our numbers. We love you. And Ted Davies Artistry, good morning to you, brother. Hope you're having a good morning, my friend. And I hope everyone had a good Halloween weekend. I forgot to wish you all a happy Halloween. Oh. Let's see. I think I locked up here. JD, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, my computer is locked up here. Hold on a second.
Oh, okay. So to go back to the other gentleman's point, yes. See?
Yeah. So now this is where I wish the StreamYard is talking about doing a
working cursive.
Yeah. The StreamYard is okay. There we go. Yes.
You got it?
Yeah. Okay, we're back now. Thank you for waiting. Yeah, and was it Glenn B. Fleming talking about, you talk about cursive, and I'm thinking about Glenn B. Fleming trying to get us all use our Ames lettering guides.
God, no.
What do you mean, oh, God, no?
No, I use a computer.
Yeah, everyone does, and that's his problems with it. So that, see, I got to close some windows here. So we're going to do that. Okay, and... there we go. We're just trying to get my Steam-driven computer is not being nice to me. But anyway, moving on. And I see, yes, you've got a new profile pic. You look beautiful, Pops. And good morning to Glenn B. Fleming.
What's up, Glenn?
Good to see you. And Brian Rodman, good morning, my fellow Brian and Evermorians. My goodness, what a weekend it was. Not only did we successfully fund Memoirs of an Angel number 8, yay! But he met all of his stretch goals.
Nice. Good job.
Very cool. Thank you so much, everyone who back, shared, liked, and commented. Every part really does matter. You all made an amazing experience as always. That's great. And yes, no, it's Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving time, Grand Illusion Show. Then we get to Christmas, okay? Yes. And CromCon 18 was dedicated to Mr. Hawkins. Oh, Pops, that is so cool. We recently lost a great supporter, Brian Hawkins, recently, and to the COVID. And thank you, Pops, for doing that. That means a lot. It really does. And Chris Walker of HallowCon. Good morning, Brian, and everyone else. And Chris, thank you for your great service this weekend. Chris we mentioned what we used to call in our local restaurant elbows and assholes, because they were so busy. That's all you ever saw of them. And Chris Walker was one of those guys. He and Skunk and everyone. And Brian, please advise your listeners that my new Kirby book and film will now be coming in the new year. Problems arose, and I need to start again. I appreciate everyone's support. Glenn B. Fleming, you got it, brother. Yeah. Let me know what I need to do to help. But Glenn B. Fleming, of course, has got an expert editing. And he's still speaking to me, so that speaks well of him. So anyway, he got Dr. Tough Love too. And Brian Robin says, so a fun surprise for his wife Robin and I yesterday was during the flood of trick-or-treaters. The lone bearded figure began walking up my driveway. Lo and behold, it was my mother who dressed up as me for Halloween.
Nice.
Oh my God. It was one of the coolest things she's done. And of course, I keep teasing him. I don't know, JD, I think I've got a chance to be the next Neil Adams. This is Brian Rodman as Jessica Rabbit.
Okay. I think that will, Yeah, that should frighten everybody.
Yeah, I'm setting up the NFTs today.
Mhm.
And yes, that was a Funko Pop of the ages. Thank you. And Chris Walker, pleasure to meet you in person finally. We are happy to have you and everyone from the Rising Tide Network. Well, we plan to invade next year, Chris, just to let you know. And Jake Lindsay has one of his videos up. Please check it out. And I have 2 more Entrail figures left. Yes, this is Entrail. Brand new line of toys that are coming out from Damien with a little assistance for myself. Maybe we can give those away here. Maybe we'll do that later. Okay, but have them handy. And Damien did a fantastic job on those. But Brian, does your pop not have pants on? If so, that's very broadcast accurate. No, he this one does have pants on. Oh, wait a second. Cookies, yeah. Cookie bought me something at HallowCon. We're going to have it here. And Amy Hale, good morning to you, darling. Check out her books. And that's not a pen. That's a pen, not a gun. I'm blind as hell. Yes, that's a pen in my hand. Excuse me. That's a pen. It is mightier than the sword, however. And Rick Bradley, good morning to you. And a pen gun, yes. And I want a Pops now. Says we'll contact Damien. Okay, anyway, we're gonna put this on our back here. I gotta show this off. We bought this at HallowCon.
Nice.
Class as always. That's what this show is about. It's Skunk Rocker who's up first. And thank you for sharing this, Ryan. And Ryan Permison, happy that's right, we're in the middle of National Novel Writing Month. Now, JD, have you ever thought about writing a book?
I've written 3 of them.
Oh, really? That shows how little I know. Cool.
The Oswald Chronicles started as prose.
Oh, that's beautiful. Now, what made you decide to switch them over to comics?
Because I'm a crackhead.
Okay, now that we've got that established.
Yeah, because you have to be some form of masochist to want to get back into comics, but it always draws you back. So
this is oh no, holy crap. Okay, listen. This is something else that Damien got for us. Here we go. They're F-bombs.
Oh, nice.
Because someone dropped an F-bomb she dropped an F-bomb on my show.
Oh.
You don't hear Daphne doing it on any of JD's broadcasts. No, you don't. So there. Yeah. Oh, and Ryan, we're going to put your things up here. Please take a screenshot and get with Ryan. He got good stuff going. East Bonnie, good morning to you. Good morning. Yesterday I saw a guy spill all the Scrabble letters on the road. I asked him, what's the word on the street? Oh, and
word is, she ought to be ashamed of herself.
That's right. You should be ashamed of yourself, woman. Anyway, and congratulations to Brian Robin from all of us. And yes, and Grant Lankard had a good weekend. Memoirs of the Morbid was funded. Yes. Congrats, Brian. Thank you to everyone who backed or spread the word. That is very cool. And people give me stuff. People give me grief. Anyway, my NaNoWriMo plan, says Brian Robin, are to write multiple comic scripts and sharing that load with a certain comic book spectrum crew Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Rising Tide Broadcast Network. And nice. Yes, congratulations from all of us. And Brian and Bobby's Excellent Adventure coming soon to theaters. Let's make it happen. Yes, Bobby Nash, you should have him on your show. I'm serious, and I am serious about this. You are aware of Bobby Nash, right?
No. I'm sorry.
No. That's fine. I'm making obscurity sexy myself, but no. He's written comic books. He is a primarily prose writer. There's a couple people who do that. I should probably steer him your way. But Bobby is an incredible storyteller. Now we'll talk about your broadcasting soon, but your shows tend to run about 90 minutes to 2 hours.
The Sunday show is about 2 hours, and then if we do the one-on-one interviews, they tend to run about an hour.
Okay, Bobby Nash has set a record for our Clever Title Pending show. 5 minutes shy of 5 hours.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And it was fun. It was really fun. And Sarah, we are not going to read your question here. New writer for NaNoWriMo this year. Any tips? Just keep writing. Do the word puke. Don't stop. Don't give up. And keep. And here's something else. Here's a little cheat for you. Gotta make sure nobody's listening. Even if you don't hit the 50,000, you still won because you started and you're further along in your first draft.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you're a winner no matter what. But also go register at NaNoWriMo.org and plug into some local support you may have. And speaking of Bobby Nash, it was great visiting with you on Saturday, Bobby. It's good to see you here. And I was so touched. Bobby drove up 2 hours from Atlanta just to say hello to me. I was absolutely happy. And yeah, it was an innuendo question. That's why we're not reading it. And JD says, Sarah. Nice. And Damian Waldron, the man, the myth, the legend. And let's see. Oh, we just had a huge comment dump. And this shows how this is working. We're an hour behind. We're an hour behind the comments. So this is good stuff. And holy cow, what a and to say, and Rick Bradley, good morning to you, and hoping to squeeze in a little writing every day. Whereas his son is taking up his time, but since he's a month and a half old, yeah, he's old enough to get a job and get some self-sufficiency. I agree. That's what the work. Yeah, that's what the workhouses are for. Damn it, maybe you can get a job with Martha Stewart. And Sarah says, Daphne is your wife after a couple of years watching you both. I never knew.
Yes, we've been together a long time. Since 88. 87.
Don't want to think about how long is that
Yeah. No, I mean, it trust me, it's been a fantastic ride, and we're still riding it. So it's been great, and it's going to continue. But yeah, it's been, it's just one of those things where it's just like, it's been that long, only because it's just been that long. It's just like, the stuff just starts to mush into itself. So it's just like, yeah, but it's been, we've been together a long time. Yeah.
Dude, Cookie and I have been married for over 30 years, and it's just like we just kind of woke up one day and wait a minute, civilizations have risen and fallen since we got married. So,
exactly.
Yeah. But it's good, and congratulations to you both, man.
Seriously,
in all honesty, I'm very happy to hear stuff like that. And behind the stereo box has a special cameo appearance by Madam Executive Producer. I fell out of my chair when I saw it. Yes, Cookie accidentally got on camera. So, and Grant Lankard didn't know either. Boy, apparently you two have got a secret going on here. And I thought the trip together was just two good friends. Mind blown to find out. Okay. And Brian Robin has a question here for you, sir. When you find yourself in a time of much needed rest, what are your go-to movies, books, shows, music, etc. that inspire you and become fuel to create?
Yes. All of it.
All of it.
All of it.
Is there any one specific outside medium, outside of comics and prose, that you see it and go, okay, I must go there. There is no deliberation process. Is there any one thing that?
Well, as far as like just to relax, if it's just relaxing, there's two places. I could go to Miami, because in Miami there's nothing to do. So you just lie down like a lump, and you turn on the TV, and that's what you're doing. Right. Or you go walk on the beach for a little while. So that's all there is. If we're talking about like I just want to like have a good time and then relax, I do what Daphne and I always do. We go to Disney World.
Oh, nice. That is cool.
We go to Disney World. Although I think our next trip is we want to go to either Japan or back to Paris, one or the other. So.
Oh wow, that's great. That's fantastic. And George Saray goes, good morning, boys. Or good morning, guys. You're taking me back to the various times I visited Midtown Comics on the way to the subway after work. Yes. And check out our buddy here. He's got a brand new audio podcast, and he's part of the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. Brian Rodman says, when will you be collaborating with the bearded doodler, Brian Rodman? I hear he does semi-mediocre work. Way to sell yourself, Brian.
Exactly. If that question is for myself, we'll talk. We'll talk. I because what's funny is I'm doing a series of stories called the 100 Artist Project, where I'm looking to work with 100 different artists, and they're all Oswald stories and all shorts. They're all like anywhere from a page to 8 pages. So they're all shorts. So I think I've written probably about 11 of them. I've had about 5 or 6 of them illustrated. So You know,
Oh, very
I'm
cool.
going
Well,
very slowly, very slowly. There you go.
Putting my name in the mix there. Putting my name in there. Anyway,
Yeah.
and Brian Robin says, "Don't do drugs and deal comics. Instead, deal drugs and do comic." Wait a minute. Brian, we need to talk about your copywriting skills, and there's also a Bat Cave in Pittsburgh. It's no relation, just an obvious name for a bookstore. And JD is a beast, says Pops Van Sant on Comics Talk, and JD rocks,
Thank you,
and
Tim.
and Jareth Love, good to see you, buddy. Says your image homage needs less feet.
Right.
And Grand Illusion Show says, Brian, I'd like to thank you for the support of my grandpa. It's really stressful right now, but good thing he's having more good days than bad. Yes, Jake Lindsay got some bad news about his grandfather's health, but please keep sending those thoughts and prayers to him. And Rick Bradley says, Tenchi, I'm going to mispronounce this, Tenchi Muyo. That's one of my favorite anime shows out there.
Yeah, we did a six issue limited series. It was back in the 90s. It was based on Tenchi Universe, which was a TV show. So
yeah, I remember that. I remember seeing that too. I haven't seen that name in so long. It's that's why I love going back down memory lane on this.
Yeah.
And Jake Twister, good to see you. Who's ready for NaNoWriMo? Hell, ow! I'm ready. I'm polishing up a novel this month, so that's my yes. And shut up and show me the money. And question: now that Diamond is no longer the monopoly player in distribution for comics, and with Kickstarter and Indiegogo doing so well with indie comics, what do you think the future of comics looks like? Brian Rahman, great question. JD, what do you think the comics firmament looks like in the immediate future?
I can't say for everybody else. I know what I'm working towards. I'm using. My business plan has always been this. I have my comics, they're in black and white, right? So I'm releasing them as comic books in black and white. Then I'm going to release them in trade paperbacks as black and white. And then eventually, hopefully, I'll be able to release them in color. And then they'll be as comic books in color. And then trade paperbacks. And then eventually at the end of that, I'll be looking to move into either Diamond or Lunar or both. And that's where the real thing needs to happen. You have to be able to distribute through multiple channels at the same time without fear of them being like, no, you can't work with that guy. You can only work with me. No, you have to be able to do it through multiple channels at the same time so that you can take orders, because then each company will have their own client base and you can feed off of both client bases. And that's what was so important. When you had 13 different distributors, they were regional. You know, you only had the two big ones were Diamond and Capital, and they pretty much covered the entire country. But a lot of these other distributors were regional, so they dealt with their local stores, and they will help them grow. So I wasn't feeding off of Diamond and Capital's same retailers. You were reading when you were going with like Sticks or Heroes World, you were feeding off a different group, so you got sales from there. You know, instead of just being like, you know, oh, I got the same thing offered to me from 5 different places. So you just chose a place you got it from, as opposed to having 5 different people, you know, who are all there to eat, you know. So that's what I think is important.
No, that's very wise advice. You know, we've all heard that thing, don't put all of your eggs in one basket. That's why a lot of businesses talk about multiple revenue streams, such as, you know, for an indie creator, it can be, you know, it can be comic books. They could then do novelizations of it. They'll have merchandising. Of course, we know a little bit about merchandising too. Look in the comments below and above. But anyway, you know, just in case one, there you go, my man. There we go. You know, in case one avenue dries up, and sometimes they do. You know, everything has a shelf life. So when one dries up, you've got other things to rely on. So follow us for more business hacks. And Keisha Acuff, hello, beautiful you. Mwah, good morning. And Jareth Love asks, what about apps like Webtoons and Tapas? I'm sure I've said that wrong, but how do those figure into your business plan, JD?
Not just yet. I'm thinking about it. We've Daphne and I think Daphne, she put on Tall Tales. I think she had it on there for a couple of years. I think on Webtoons, didn't get a lot of traction. there, right? So she was kind of like disenfranchised with it. We may revisit sometime in the future. There's a couple of other things we're working on with Bitcoin and that sort of thing. So NFTs, and so we're going that we're actually going to probably move in that route. So as far as Webtoons and Top it's a maybe at this point. I know there is value there, but the problem is it's like anything else. It's signal to noise. If you can get your signal out there, then great. But it's just a matter of just having that signal to noise ratio.
Yeah. You mentioned NFTs, and I mentioned it kind of jokingly. We're going into posters and tattoos anyway of Brian Rodman. But you mentioned NFTs, and I've heard a little bit of that from Pops. How do you see NFTs influencing comics? It's like you see somebody like Jose Delbo, who worked for 50 years in the comics industry for mostly page rates and maybe reprints if he's lucky. And then all of a sudden he makes like $1 million plus in one day selling NFTs of his illustrations of Wonder Woman. God bless him. Which made DC clench so hard their sphincters could crack a walnut. But anyway, how do you see NFTs influencing? Do you think it's going to be a big thing in independent comics, or is it just like you're putting your toe in the water and hoping for the best?
It's like anything else. You gotta jump into it and see what happens, right? Because the thing is if you're going into it expecting to get rich, probably not gonna happen. Like you said, Delbo got in there, and he got in there right at the right time, right at the beginning, and he made all that money. So now everybody else is like scrambling to get in there, right? So are you gonna make a lot of money? It's hard to say. You're coming in second. Once you've already heard about it, it's too late. Okay. That's the real problem. Once you've already heard, but you can get in there. Maybe you can make a little bit of money. It just depends. There's a lot of people in the world who don't read comics. There's a lot of people who read them, and there's a lot of people who don't. Right?
That's true.
And there are far more people who are more interested in making money in the money market accounts, and that's what they're going to be looking at as investments. Can they, turn this over? Can they buy it from you, right? An NFT from you for, I don't know, it could be $1 million, it could be $10, it could be $20.
Right.
And then flip it, right? In a few months. Can I say this? Can I get $30 for it? Can I get $40 for it? Right. The one fantastic thing I've seen about NFTs is that when you write the code or when you get the code made for you, you can add in that whenever they resell, you can get 5% or 10% of whatever the resale is.
Nice.
Oh yeah. So throughout the lifespan of that NFT being sold, you will get a percentage. And I see that being big. Because if you can get, just flipping your stuff, you'll constantly get a revenue stream from that, which
makes a lot of sense. Yeah, and I know that's been a issue in law as well. Because I remember California about 20 years ago it was closer to 30, got into like trying to figure out how to tax resale items, like collectibles in particular. So like if say you sell me a painting of something you've done, of course you would pay the tax on that resale, even though you'd pay the New York state tax. But then how would New York collect if I were to sell that thing? And I know California has been messing with that for decades and still haven't figured out. Well, they don't care about a fair way to do it. They just want to figure out how to get their hands in the till. So, but no, this makes perfect sense. This makes a lot of sense. Thank you for explaining that. And Carl Wisman says, sorry, I was late catching up from stuff being out of town and getting routine vehicle maintenance now. Carl, thank you so much for that Batman statue. I appreciate that so much. And Grand Illusion Show, did you grow up listening to a band called Petra? I remember them.
I remember them. I don't remember specifically seeking them out, though. But I do remember the band.
Yeah. And Brian Rahman, don't write to get readers, write stories you want to read.
Yes.
You should people, you should get that tattooed on your arms and look at it when you type. And there seem to be a lot of editing errors in comics now. Same with prose, same with regular books. And that's the thing. I like, going back to what you were saying about, the quality of writing perhaps descending a bit in contemporary comics. That I think part of it is, probably was most certainly we are not getting trained writers into this field, but also we're not getting trained editors,
right?
Because it's far more than just just catching spellings. It's like, dude, can you figure out a better way to say this sort of thing? And John Celestri, good to see you, sir. Don't forget to check out Wednesday afternoons with Dr. John, the original gangster on the Rising Tide Network. Pruning makes you grow.
Yes.
Exactly. And Jake Twister says, Brian, you echo that sentiment that a Japanese director mentioned a while ago. He said it was in imitating imitations. See? Exactly right. Thank you, Jake. That's great. And today's comic stories are based on gameplay. Yeah, there we go. And Pepsi from the Moon, I think we've had you before. Welcome back. The Suicide Squad's garbage is one of the worst movies of 2021. Change his mind. Go for it. And Tenchi Mule and Roger Zelazny, I am all about this, says Nick Tockard. Oh, yeah. And anyway, let's see. And yes, here we go. Now, this is good advice. Remember to read nonfiction, people.
This
Seriously.
is very true.
You're right. And Cindy Cap, good morning. CKOEPP.com. Check out her newsletter. Also, check out her Patreon page at www.patreon.com/CKOEPP.com. Glad to have you here, Cindy. We're going to put your promotion on the screens, and then we're going to keep moving on because we are so far behind. And thank you all for, yes, and she'll be at the Indie Author Book Expo in West Des Moines at the Valley West Mall on Black Friday. We're going to be in a mall on Black Friday. May God have mercy on our souls. I'll be there. Michaela Jade will be there. It'll be great.
Enjoy it.
It'll be fun. It'll be interesting. And Teenage Mutant Night Productions. Haven't seen you in a while. Good morning. Hello to you, and hello, Jareth Love. He's a local fan and a good friend of mine. And also, let's get those other things up there. And thank you, Cindy Kep, for these promotions. And Michaela, so good to see you this weekend, hon. I'm really glad to get to talk to you this weekend. Glad we got things straightened out. And my Halloween kind of sucks, says TMKP. My house was on fire and all my drawings were in there. Oh no. That sucks.
Yeah,
and successfully funded Memoirs of an Angels from Dastardly and the Dastardly Dingoes on the Rising Tide Broadcast Network Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. And let's see, Glenn B. Fleming, tough love is just what the world needs today. Never mind editing. Maybe the world needs some editing too. Bring them to me. I'm ready. I will break their souls. And Cindy Kemp, there we go. And I saw what you said, and you've got our sympathy. You really do. And I know it's hard to lose that stuff. I've lost some stuff in floods and various mishaps, as JD has too. So you are preaching to the choir, but know that it will get better. It will get better. And anyway, Cindy Kemp has some more stuff there you need to pay attention to. Do screen captures. And Damian Walburn, I would love one of those figures, says Rick Bradley. Now, which one? These will be commercially available later. And 4 points of articulation, which is more than I've got. Anyway, dude, he had a very ambitious DC fan project that he was doing, and it has been put on hold. You've always got to take real life first, unfortunately. But keep us posted. You have our support. And definitely check out Amy Hale. She's an editor and formatter. We are talking editors. Also, Michaela Jade does editing too. And we'll be there in November. And let's see, got poetry. And Joe Dog McKeel, home safe and in the driveway. See you guys Thursday or Friday. That's probably about when he will wake up again. Joe is a freaking dynamo this weekend. I went from a convention where I never saw the promoters once to Joe Dog was there bam, 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 bam. Usually going from one crisis to another and getting it solved. So hire him to do your show. And blah to the F-bombs, priceless. Yeah. Yeah. And thank you to Lauren for that. And good to hear, Joe. And Molly Daniels, greetings. Glad you had a great time this weekend. I did. I had a fantastic time at HallowCon. We'll be talking about that probably more this week. We will talk about more. And definitely check out Cindy Kemp and her show there. And first day of Nano, get to work, everyone. No excuses. That's it. Create fearlessly. That's what it's all about. And CromCon was very much fun. Oh, and Sarah, thanks for explaining, guys. Glad to help. And we just had a comment. Now, do you get comment dumps on your broadcast, JD?
Once in a while. I tend to try to, go back and forth really quick. Yeah, but it's hard. It sometimes gets hard.
Yeah, it does. And leave that line alone, Sarah. Anyway, find Nick Anthony Tucker here. And CromCon was very much fun. I bet as I'm going to be going back and checking that out. And Cindy Kemp says, recover quickly, Luke, and check out Luke's Stone Studios. By the way, Nita Lanning and Meredith Walgren are putting together a benefit to help the Stone family through this time of crisis as Luke recovers from the coronavirus. And we are going to be a part of that. So, and I urge everyone who is a comic creator, get in touch with Nita Lanning and see what you can do to make this happen. All right. Because he's given a lot to this community and we need to show them some love. And typing while listening. And let's see. And well, if you like where you're living, that's good. And I guess I showed you, Sarah. And Bear Publications will be making an audiobook out of Animal Eye featuring the voice and talents of the one and only skunk rocker, Kyle Guthrie, who's got an amazing voice, will be doing that. And looking forward to that. You've had Cindy on your show before, haven't you, JD?
No, I don't think I have. No.
Oh, you need to. Here's the story. Here's the background. Now, Cindy does primarily prose, short stories, and novels. Okay. And she had her latest book, Animal Eye, is based on Gamelit, and it's basically about a group of players who play animals inside a video game.
Okay.
And it's a sweeping fantasy sort of thing. She underwent the rigors of Dr. Tough Love and wrote her very first comic script.
Nice.
And talked to Joe D. McPhee, talked to Brian Rodman, talked to our crew on Comic Book Spectrum. She knocked it out of the park. Her first time out. She did, and I'll tell you, she did 2 full drafts. After that, I said, just send it to your editor. You're done with me. That's how fast she picked it up. And she's currently... Number 2 is in production. Number 3 is being written, and she successfully crowdfunded the first one.
Oh, cool! Nice.
So, Cindy, I think you ought to reach out to JD and see about getting on his show. And more stuff here from Cindy. Cindy is our resident. She's the power strip because she's the one that brings all the plugs. And anyway, here's a good question from Sarah. Sarah, do you and Daphne edit each other's stories, or is that something you won't do as a couple?
No, we sometimes discuss things, but edit? No. No. It's funny because I remember a while ago. No. Just,
is there a story behind this, JD?
Not really. I mean, there's like, because like Tall Tales, which I write and she illustrates.
Sure.
Or she draws. So I'll write a script and I'll just hand it to her and then I walk away. And I don't get to see anything until it's done. And then I get to go in and, make my edits. And and that's pretty much that. Yeah. So that's as far as the conversations usually go. It's just like, okay, here's the script. She does what she needs to do. I come back, I do my edits. She'll complain to me that there's so many of them. And she'll go in and fix them, and that's that. And that's as far as the conversation goes.
Yeah, I think you just gave. I was going to ask the possible nature of your not sharing with each other, and I think I got it right there about the complaints.
Right. It's just like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, just walk away. That's the best thing to do. Backing
Yeah.
slowly towards the door because they can
Right.
smell your fear.
Usually, something with Oswald, although there are times that I've written stories and I've been, listen, I think there's something wrong. And I'll give her the story, and then she'll read it, and I'm like, yeah, there's something wrong. And then I'll go back and fix it, and I'm like, okay, try it not. And then it's like, okay, that works. Sometimes that'll happen.
Well,
But
that's good.
yeah.
Well, that's good that you have each other to bounce off of each other, but you recognize that there may be boundaries that you two should not get too close to. So yeah,
exactly.
I feel your pain from the woman who told me when she was editing my Volcana novel, said, "Is chapter 33 supposed to make sense?"
Nice.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it does. So there. Anyway,
you should have been like, no, it's not.
No, it's supposed to be nonsensical. Screw
exactly. It's supposed to be silly. What's wrong?
That's right. Yes, it's a moment of levity. It's all pacing. Deal with me, I'm a genius. And Pulp Reality 3 is announced. Check out Stormgate Press. It's going to be great, and everyone's sending love to each other. Reviews from Australia. And Roll Cruz, who did the amazing art on Animal Eye. You definitely need to check it out. And Love Petra is finished. It's my fave. And Mike Jimmy Lorsha de Bruin. Good afternoon from the Netherlands. Nevermore is mwah. Glad to see you here, Mike Jimmy, as always. And Cindy Kemp, it's the end of her break, but check out her links. Check out CKOEPP.com and all that. And Sarah, I'm not just now getting into manga and anime. Same with zombies. I wasn't into them when they were huge, but the awesome thing is that I'm getting the books at huge discounts from people selling them. There's a tip for you. Wait till the trend passes.
Right.
and reap the benefits.
Yeah,
Well, it goes back to, what you were saying and what we've all been saying about write for yourself and let the market find you. By the, especially the larger the company, Marvel, DC, I'm looking at you, you try to hop on a trend, and by the time the production wheels grind to completion, the trend has moved on.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, so create for yourself. And Mikhail's got to go, got lots to write. Hey, hun, come on, keep me posted. Yeah. And good luck in NaNoWriMo. And Sarah has ancestors from the Netherlands. Glad to see Mike Jimmy, who says, Webtoon is awful to start at. The first 1,000 subs can take years, even if you make that point. Well, it's the same as YouTube.
Yeah.
In fact, I was watching one instructional video just a couple days ago where the guy has 5 figures worth of subscribers. And it took him 10 years to get it.
Yeah.
So and while we're flashing some of the comments here, let's talk about your broadcasting, because that's how we met. You're a very prolific broadcaster. How'd you get started doing that?
I was bored.
See you, folks. Have a great night.
That's it. I was bored. Yeah. So yeah. No. Initially, what it was when I first started. If you go all the way back in my history, you'll see I was just doing reviews of books, and they were just all hand reviews, and you would just see me flipping pages. Sure. And because I felt that there were certain books people weren't getting covered, and I just wanted to cover those books, and mostly all indies. So I just wanted to cover that sort of thing. And then someone had asked me and says, hey, can I come on your show? And I was like, what? And I was like, sure, because I'd been thinking of interviewing people. So this guy came on, and I interviewed him, and it was fine. And I was like, okay, so let's do someone else. And I just kept interviewing people. And then eventually, I just, during COVID, you're not seeing anybody, you're not interacting with people, you're not going to shows. And even though I still had my day job, and I was still going every day, I was interacting with those people, but it's not the same. You're at work. I wanted to talk about comics, and I was just like, how do I get a group of people together? So, there was a couple of times I would just go online. I would be like, okay, well, it's an open call. Just whoever wants to come on, and then we'll just sit down and talk. And I would have 5, 6, 7, or 8 people, and we just start talking about comics. And I said, okay, I could start doing this every Sunday. So it's just a thing of just now every Sunday, most Sundays. I do take the occasional one off, like last Sunday. But just about every Sunday, we're on 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I get together with a group of people, and we just talk comics, and that's what we're there for. And mostly indie comics. Sometimes we'll go into other things, I've been discussing a lot of I'm looking forward to discussing the new version of Dune, the movie, comparing it to the 1984 version. Yeah.
And you can also compare it to I remember Marvel did an comic adaptation of the original.
Yes, yes they did.
Yes.
I think
I like it.
I think it was.
Yes, they did.
Well,
I caught
I have
that.
it. Yeah, I have it buried somewhere in my collection. I just don't know where it's at.
Yeah.
I think it was Bill Sienkiewicz. I think he might. I don't know if he did the interiors. I think he did the covers.
I know he did the cover, but
Right.
I have to say, Dune is one of those books I've never been able to get into.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know, and I think it's me. I'm sure it's me.
Mhm.
Because it wouldn't be this much of a classic if it was
Right.
as impenetrable to everyone else as it was to me. And I found the movie interesting but bewildering. Forgetting because I wasn't that familiar with David Lynch, and I should have, if I'd known that going in, I probably would have had a better handle on it. But no, one of my goals this coming year is to read Dune.
Okay.
So that's I gotta educate myself, and everyone is explaining NFTs here, and it's
Oh gosh, yeah. Once that conversation builds up, forget about it. They'll just
they're just ignoring us now. They couldn't care less about us now. So anyway, please follow that conversation. It's pretty interesting. There we go. Yeah, and well, Jake Twister makes a good comment here about speculative bubbles.
Right.
We have had them, for decades.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, centuries. What is it? 500 years ago. Tulips. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
When somebody explained NFTs to me, the first thing I thought of was tulips, digital tulips.
Right.
And please
see, look,
go ahead.
It's a great thing if you could get in on the bottom and make your money quick and get out.
Yeah.
Right. That's the thing. You have to make your coin and then go. Don't stick around. Just move on. And get out as much as you can get. I mean, and just move on.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's the thing. It's funny, the whole Bitcoin, digital currency thing. It's just like, you're investing in things that only exist in digital space, and you're generating revenue. So it's weird. It's very strange. It was very interesting though.
It really is interesting. I find myself interested, and I do have a little bit of crypto, just to let people know. You can buy crypto now through PayPal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you spend a minimum of $10, and they give you enough information you can make a quasi-informed decision.
Right.
But Scott Crocker says, but digital files are just ones and zeros. You can literally make exact copies, 100% indistinguishable. I think the blockchain, which also powers cryptocurrency, I think that prevents it somehow. It's a sorcery that is beyond my mortal mind to comprehend. But Jake Twister says the authentication process would involve checking for metadata, and the creator will have in the future to submit certification instead of direct sales. And heck and sweet, guess what metadata transfers with the file? Even if it didn't for some weird reason, it's incredibly easy to fake the metadata. We're cracking the system here on this show. And no, I'm not pro or anti-NFT, by the way. I point out what I got with a gripe and want to see fixed. Yeah. And again, we were talking about ones and zeros, not paper and pen and ink and blood and sweat, literally ones and zeros. Yeah, because JD creates the comic book. There is one original, and that's all there will ever be. And this is kind of a way to buy an original, but it's a copy. So okay, good. I've got it so far. And from the desk of the Small Press Publisher, morning all, Mr. Calderon is here. Yes, he is Joe D. McPhee.
What's up, Joe?
Saturday nights on the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. And Scott Crocker says, personally, I think of cryptocurrency and everything related to blockchains, whatever the hell should be, smells snake oil. Wait till I get my money out of it, then we'll talk. And man, if you're involved in any of that garbage, I sincerely hope nothing happens to you, but wake up and smell the coffee, and people are already getting ripped off this whole NFT thing. I liken it to the fact that I bought Marvel stock in the late 90s. Yeah. And the comic I got as the annual stock report is worth more than the $200 worth of Marvel stock I bought back then, which became when they cashed out and then reapplied to the stock exchange.
Right.
I got a check for 11 cents.
Wow.
That was what my $200 came to.
So it didn't roll over into the new stock?
They gave you a chance to, but it kind of worked out to, we're not giving you the equivalent of your old stock, but we're giving you first chance to purchase the new stock at a discount.
Ah,
So
shady.
that's what I said. I said,
Right.
I am the hell out of here. So anyway, yeah, and great advice from Jake Twister. It's like stocks. Don't write it unless you can afford losing. And also there are concerns with the fact that that is basically electrical energy, that it could have a deleterious effect on the environment because you're using coal-based power plants to keep the system going. Although I'm hearing there are kinds of there's new kinds of cryptocurrency emerging, and there's new cryptocurrency all the time that is being done in a more green way. But Bitcoin is not among them. And I read an article recently that was published at Skunk Worker where I believe someone who had bought on NFT got hacked because the NFT file itself allowed the original creator access to his blockchain wallet with something like $17,000. All of it gone, and there isn't a damn thing he can do about it because he believed in the wonderful smell that snake oil had to it. Invested a lot of money and time into cryptocurrency. There was a huge chunk of the money that he had gone. And creators moving online is what got me back into comics after 20 years after giving away my entire collection. Yeah. And that's one of the things I do have to applaud JD here, because he's taking care of his creative partners on this and avoiding the next generation of Siegel and Schusters. And that kind of chicanery is still going on these days. JD, I suppose you're keeping up on the article about Marvel proactively taking creators of their old IPs to court.
Oh yeah,
like Larry Lieber and the estates of Don Rico, Don Heck, etc., etc. And we definitely want to put this up here because please freeze frame this when you watch on the rerun so that you can there's a great conversation going on here about cryptocurrency. And Skunk Rocker is very intelligent, so I would pay attention. And Damian Waldburn goes, question, I'm an artist and a plotter, not a writer. How do I transition and build that muscle? First, you hire a writer and quit getting these grandiose schemes in your head, young man, period. Anyway, I'm his collaborator. Go ahead, answer the question,
gotcha.
please, JD.
Well, if you're going to write, you got to write. Just start writing. That's it. Just write and write and write and write and write. And the thing is they'll tell you in prose, it's 1,000,000 bad words. You got 1,000,000 bad words in you. You gotta burn those suckers out of your system. So 1,000,000 bad words. Think about it as what, Game of Thrones, 100,000 words, right? Yeah. So think about it. You got 10 of those in you that are just bad. So it's very worthwhile to start when you're young. Sorry, Damien, I know you're not there anymore. But if you're young,
semi-young,
right? You got to start early and just keep working. But if you're at where you're at, you just got to work and just plow through it. Now they say it's 1,000,000 bad words. In comics, they say it's like 1,000 bad pages. So yeah, it's just work it. You just got to constantly work it. And that's just what you have to do.
Yeah. Well, I liken it to Michael Jordan. You have to throw 10,000 rotten free throws in order to be able to get the laws of gravity repealed for you.
Exactly.
And also get feedback from people who you respect their opinions and will criticize the work but not the creator.
Right.
If somebody says you're stupid for having written this, then that's not your critic and you move on. But if you get somebody who can tell you exactly why something doesn't work and can quantify it, and yes, I volunteered. He goes, I've spoken to you both individually, but I need your combined might on the subject. But no, that's excellent advice what JD had. Just keep doing it. And one day soon you won't need me. And Sarah says that somebody tried to get her into Bitcoins, and when asked what he did to earn the money, he said nothing. And how does something make money from doing nothing? It doesn't sound right. And Russell Allen, good morning to you, good sir. Good to see you here, buddy. And there we go. And we have finally caught up with the Bitcoin conversation. I mean, the comments. And but no, good conversation, guys. Definitely go back and reread that. That is thought provoking, and that's what we like doing here. And 1,000 Bad Pages available now in the Realmer X Omnibus and my big cartel store.
Nice.
Oh,
nice.
you know, next goal, next mountain to be climbed here will be your marketing skills.
You need to work on that just a little bit.
Just a tad, yeah. I got a submission from somebody, and I won't. If they're listening, I'm not going to embarrass them by naming specifically who it was. But they sent me the entire comic. I did not even open it up, but it had on the cover, "We are better than," and I'm just going to pick an IP. "We are better than G.I. Joe."
Okay.
Above the title. "We are better than G.I. Joe." Then big explosion bubble on the front cover. "We are better than G.I. Joe." And in the body of the pitch, it was, "Hey, I'd like you to consider publishing my comic. As you can tell, we're better than G.I. Joe."
Wow.
I'm like, have a nice day. Bless your little heart. Return.
Exactly.
Oh man. But anyway, I promised you an hour, and we have gone an hour and a half. And I thank you very much for being here, JD.
Thank you for having me.
Oh man, we got to do this again. You are so much fun. So anyway, for putting up with me for an hour and a half, you get to close us out. Tell us how people can keep up with you, and give another last minute pitch for your current crowdfunding project. So here we go. You get the big screen.
Oh God, not the big screen again. Jesus.
The big screen. Deal with it. Anyway.
All right. So thank you so much. So currently on Kickstarter, you can find the OswaldChronicles.com trade paperback volume 1 for Passing Queens and Making Homes, about this little guy right here. His name is Oswald. You can also pick up that pin. If you like adventure, if you like coming of age stories, if you like just fantasy and adventure and that sort of thing, you like mice, you like The Rescuers, Mouse Guard, all kinds of stuff, Rescuers Down Under. If you enjoy that sort of thing, you might want to check this out, and then the thing is you might think it's just about a mouse and it might be all cute. It does go into some realms that's a little bit more serious. So if you're looking to get it for kids, it's not really made for young kids, but if they can watch Lord of the Rings, they should be good. And I'm talking about the movies. If they can watch Lord of the Rings, they're good. It's good to go for all of them. So so you might want to go check it out. It's like I said, the Oswald Chronicles. You can check out the OswaldChronicles.com. If you just want to read the work, it's available on my website. It's a webcomic. It's there for everybody. One of my main goals is to try to share this out with as many people as I possibly can. So if you can't afford to support, you could just go there and just read them, and please have at it. What you could do is you can share it out on social media for me. The OswaldChronicles.com. You can share out the Kickstarter. That would be awesome. The more people that hear, the more people that get involved is just awesome. And like I said, I'm not doing these Kickstarters for me per se. Like, the money doesn't come back to me. Like I said, I'm not going to go on vacation with this cash. All this cash will go into just creating more content, and it's going to go right back up on the website. It's going to be free for everybody to read. And there it is. I just want to share this work with everybody, and this fantastic adventure of a mouse and his life, and all the great things that he's eventually does, and all the craziness. And right behind me, you can see a couple of covers, and you can see some of the stuff he does. So turns into a big dragon and stuff.
Ooh, that sounds good. Anyway, JD Calderon, thank you very much for being here. Now, please stick around so I can say goodbye to you properly. Cool. And we're going to close out the show, okay?
All right, cool. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Brian.
All right, thank you. Oh, and I have to give you one compliment here. Skunk Rocker says, "Have a great day. Enjoy my screenplay. I've got some editing to do." And JD is very nice meeting you, and you take care of yourself.
Thank you, Skunk Rocker.
All right, and check out JD's stuff on the OswaldChronicles.com. Please do a search for him on Kickstarter, and please support this wonderful project. And he's a cool guy, and we're glad. And thank you, JD, for being here. You appreciate you so much. Skunk Rocker says, "Well, don't die. Feed Cookie. Although after I met her, I don't think she could ever kill you. She's too sweet." That shows what you know, Skunk. But anyway, she could snuff me in a heartbeat. But anyway, thank you, Skunk. It was so great to meet you. And everyone have a great day. And let's get writing, says Molly Daniels. Mwah, that's right. NaNoWriMo starts today. And check out BK Minutes. We're going to give you some help get started this week. And do comments on here count towards our word count? Count it. Sure. I say so. And Ace Bonnie says, Cookie is hungry. Feed Cookie. Take care all. And thank you, Ace, for being here. And I love Cookie. Also know she could kill if necessary. See, Sarah knows. And love you guys on the screen. Sarah, mwah, we love you too, hon. Thank you for being here. And thank you all for being here. Thank you for being so warm with JD. And Matt Knowles will be coming back on Wednesday. So we'll have that. And then Friday, it's going to be you and me. It'll just be us talking. It'll be so intimate. It'll be so lovely. But anyway, we want to thank, again, Joe and Skunk and everybody and Chris and everybody involved with HallowCon on this last weekend. It was one of the best weekends I've had in a long time. And yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back. And also check out Stupid O'Clock on Thursday. It returns this Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Also Saturday nights at 11 p.m. following From the Desk from Small Press Publisher, which will be at 10. And then stay tuned afterwards for Last Man Standing with Dan Hollifield. He was there too, all in black, looking sexy and intelligent and stuff. Anyway, it was a great time last weekend. Can't say enough good about it. And please check out hallowcon.com for more information. And as for us, we want to thank, as always, Jeffrey Hayes and Plasma Fire Graphics. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. You're looking for great covers. You're looking for great graphics to sell to your books. And if you're looking for terrific book trailers, you need Plasma Fire Graphics. Check out their page on Facebook. Also, check out their website, plasmafiregraphics.com, and inquire about their very affordable independent creator rates. You'll be glad you did. Check them out. That's Plasma Fire Graphics when the look of your book matters to you, because it definitely matters to your readers. And we want to thank the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. We've got your entertainment covered 7 days a week. And let's see, you get the rest of tonight off, but tomorrow morning, starting around 7, BK Minute. You can watch it. It's a minute of me giving you some advice, and we're going to be talking about NaNoWriMo. And then let's see, Tuesday night will be then TED Talks at 10 a.m. Always informative. Ted Davies is always fantastic. And anyway, check out our schedule. We got all manner of wonderful things happening. And then the Dastardly Dingoes at 7 p.m. How could I forget Brian, Chad, and Jeremy, where you tune in and see how Chad Nuss is abused once again. And but anyway, check out our Facebook page and please give it a like so you can follow up all our news and check out our archives there. Also, please check out our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris, and check out these wonderful people who pay a little bit and get to see their name on this show at the start and the end. Also, we give out our special blog. Every blog deserves a name, and which is exclusive to our Patreon subscribers, as well as getting to view works in progress, the upcoming book, The Terrors. So please check it out, and check us out at www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris and get your name up on this card as well. And don't forget, Dr. John, Original Gangster, Wednesday afternoon around 3 o'clock. And also George Soroy has an audio podcast. Also Keisha Acuff has one, part of the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. And don't forget our Comic Book Spectrum, Thursday nights at 7 p.m., 6 p.m. Central, with a whole bunch of cool people talking comic books. It's good. And let's check your last comments here. Hashtag bring Cookie home. And this is when you toss an F-bomb at Brian. And I'm all in black too. Big shocker. My goodness. That saves me the trouble of asking what you're wearing, Sarah. Thank you, darling. And thank you all again for being here. Thank you for being so kind to JD. And we hope to have him back in the future. And also tune in Wednesday. We'll have Matt Knowles. He's got a great all ages comic book that's coming out soon. And thank you all. We hope you enjoy the rest of your Monday. And I'm going to spend the day recovering from the weekend. It was pretty brisk. But anyway, as always, folks, thank you very much for being here. And thank you for supporting our shows. And we will see you Wednesday morning on Never Mind the Furthermore. So as always, stay smart, stay safe, wash your hands, never apologize for being awesome. Have a great Monday, everyone. Make it great for someone else. And we'll talk to you Wednesday on Never Mind the Furthermore. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Never Mind the Furthermore, a Rising Tide broadcast network production. If you enjoyed any part of this show, please give it a like or a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and consider becoming one of our Patreon supporters. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time on Never Mind the Furthermore.